Hey guys, again we continue with our series on direct and indirect, and I wanted to share with you. I remember the first video on direct and indirect. I was trying to give you the rules that are responsible, or the rules that we normally use to transform a statement from direct to indirect. That means reporting the statement. So basically we have some rules. Okay, rule number one was when you find the speaker used a direct, okay, used a tense that is a present simple sentence, which present simple we all know the formula is subject plus what, plus verb 1 or verb in S form. Okay, last time I explained that. What does that mean? But I'm sure everybody's aware. So if you find a sentence that is in present simple, that is subject plus verb 1 or subject plus verb in S form, okay, that statement has to be transformed into past simple. The formula for past simple is subject plus verb 2. Okay, so for example, if somebody says I play football, okay, that is in present simple. Why? Because it's subject plus verb 1. Okay, so if you have to change this, if somebody says I play football and you have to report it and put in indirect speech, you're going to have to change that into past simple. Okay, so the verb has to move from verb 1 into verb 2. So I play football becomes I played football. Okay, but because you're reporting it and it's not you who is playing football, then you say, if that person who was speaking was a man, you're going to say he. Okay, so you're going to say he said that. Okay, he said that he played football. Okay, that was rule number one. Rule number two is if you find a sentence or a statement that is in simple past, okay, that is a statement that has a subject and verb 2. For example, he played football or I played football. Okay, the rule says you have to change that into past perfect. Okay, so when you're reporting it, you cannot report it in simple past. You have to change that into a past perfect. Okay, so subject, when you find a sentence that you're trying to report something that is in past simple, that is subject plus verb 2, then you have to change it into past perfect. Past perfect, what is the formula? Everybody remember, if you're not really, if this is your first time or second time to come across this blog, you can go back and revisit the formula for or the notes on past perfect. But I'll just tell you in short that the formula for past perfect is subject plus had plus verb 3. So your verb now move from verb 2 to verb 3, and you have to use auxiliary verb had. Okay, for example, if somebody said I played football, okay, when you're reporting it, you're going to say, if this person was a male or female, for instance, if it's a female, you're going to say she said that, okay, she had played football. Okay, I played football becomes she said that she had played football. Okay, that is rule number 2. Okay, I hope everybody understood the rule number 2, and hopefully the last video has already gave you a light on rule number 1. Okay, but all this depends on your knowledge on the tenses. So I advise you guys to go back and look at the tenses and try to revisit, because I always tell you guys at Data Sky that you have to be very comfortable. Okay, try to be very comfortable, try to learn the rules, because I try to make it as short as I can. So you guys who are actually following me through this blog, you have to also follow the same advice. Why? Because as you see, I put the rules, I put formulas everywhere. Why? Because I want to make sure that we actually build we build your foundation, because the foundation is the tough part. After you get your foundation, okay, then you will be able to build your language in a very good way. Okay, so you won't need me anymore in the future. You will have all the tools. If you know the tenses, you know your parts of speech, and you know your structure, you're going to be okay. Okay, so that is rule number 2. Rule number 3, I believe rule number 3 says, if you find a sentence that is in present perfect. What is the formula for present perfect? Some of you are scratching their heads right now trying to remember that, but you don't have to worry about it. Just go back and revisit your notes. Okay, so present perfect is a sentence that has subject plus has or have plus verb 3. Okay, I repeat again, is a subject plus has or have plus verb 3. For example, I have spoken. Okay, I have spoken to John. Okay, I have spoken to John. That statement is in present perfect. Okay, so they say, the rule says, if you're changing a statement that is in present perfect into, okay, indirect speech, you have to change that sentence that is in present perfect into, okay, past perfect. Okay, that means if you have there or had, you have to exchange that or remove has or have and put had. For example, I have spoken to John. Okay, it will be, if the speaker is a male, you're going to say he said that he had spoken to John. Okay, you see the verb is in verb 3, so that verb does not change, but what changed is the auxiliary from has and have, which makes present perfect, into past perfect auxiliary, that is had. So if somebody says I have spoken to John, and you're going to report it, you're going to say he said that he had spoken to John. Okay, hopefully you guys understood that. That is rule number 3. So rule number 1, if you find, I'm going to just summarize. Rule number 1 says, if you find a sentence that is in present perfect, present simple, you have to change into past simple. Okay, if you find a statement that is in past simple, you have to change that sentence into past perfect to report it. Okay, if you find a sentence that is in the sentence that is in past perfect, okay, present perfect, you have to change that sentence into past perfect. Okay, I hope you guys understood. It's a little bit confusing, but you have to be very comfortable with tenses. Okay, as I always tell you, try to study your tenses. Okay, try to recognize these rules, try to know what is the formula for every tense. We have 3 main tenses in English, but the 3 main tenses, they are actually divided into 12 parts. Okay, and fortunate enough, I have been trying to cover it here. So if you have not been going through this course in the past, try to go back and try to see all those notes. You will be, I'm very sure, you will be very good in tenses, and from there you will be able to understand direct and indirect. So we have other rules that I think we will also cover, but I will do it in the next video. Thank you very much, guys, and I hope you guys are enjoying this, because I am very impressed with what comments that I have been receiving. There's some people who are actually getting it off really good with their quest to study this language, and it has been really benefiting a lot of people, and I'm very glad that we are all sharing this knowledge. Thank you, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.